Hey guys, so welcome back to my channel. I definitely got a story time for you guys today, but before I get into the story, remember to subscribe, hit that like button, and definitely turn on that bell notification to let you guys know when I post one of these crazy things. So before I go into the story, a little bit of a background of this girl. This girl was my very first girlfriend, and we all know that when you're just coming out of the closet, you kind of let your first person get away with everything because it's so new to you. You know, I went from dating all these guys my whole life to then I was 21, had my very first girlfriend. It was all new to me, so she got away with a lot of stuff. I mean, I swear on this girl alone, I could probably do about 4 different stories because of all the craziness that she put me through. Till this day, I can mention any girl from my past that has done me wrong, and no one will ever be La Colombiana. So we used to call her because I had a code name for all the girls in my life, and for the first 2 years of when I came out the closet, I had like this fascination with Colombian women. So like I think that's what I dated the first 2 years of my gay life. Wasn't dating guys, now I was dating girls all of a sudden. So everything was just new, which is why I kind of let her get away with so much stuff, and it took me so long to break up with her, which I actually did a video of how I finally broke up with her, and I'll actually link it in the description box. It's called The Worst Thing I Ever Did to an Ex. Yeah, it's this ex. So if you guys hear this story and hear the other story, you'll probably be like, we understand, she was just, you know, the spawn of Satan. So the reason that I'm doing this story is because I've had people ask me like, hey, you know, have you ever been in a crazy situation with a girl? Like, have you dated a girl that's hit you? Like, because there's so many crazy stereotypes and stuff like we get in the lesbian world and the gay world or whatever the case. And I've actually never had that happen. I've never had a girl slash my tire. I've never had a girl cost me my job or anything like that. However, if I were to make a story about my friends, yes, I have tons of stories of my friends dating girls like that, but I've never actually had a girl like that. But I did have a girl that did put me numerous times in a very dangerous situation to where I'm like, why would you even do that? But this has not, I don't want to classify this as anything gay related because I feel like this could have easily had happened to me even if I was dating a guy. So I guess, you know, you guys asked for something like this, and this is the best story that I could come up with. This is the most dangerous situation I have been in a relationship, and it just so happens to be with a girl. But nada, so here it is. This is the most dangerous situation that I've been put in while in a relationship. I was dating this girl, and needless to say, she wasn't the best girlfriend ever, but she was my first girlfriend. We went out that night. I forgot what we were gonna go to. I think we were gonna go to the club. She told me that friends of hers were gonna pick us up to go. I never liked that. I always, even to this day, I like taking my own car. I don't like riding with anyone because usually, more often than not, I like to leave early, and then it's like, con quien me voy a ir? Everybody wants to stay here. I don't want to be a party pooper, so I just always bring my own car. They picked us up, and it was a black SUV. Okay, so it was a black SUV. When we get into the car, it was like all these guys. I believe it was 3 guys. Remember, like, we were just in the corner of the SUV. There was a guy in the front, there was a guy here, there was a guy next to us, and then we were kind of just here, which is weird because it was an SUV, so you would have thought that this dude would have like sat in the back. And I felt very uncomfortable. Like, I can't explain to you guys how uncomfortable I felt, but yo como que tenía como una inquietud bien grande encima. Everybody just looked very suspicious and very quiet. Nobody was talking to her, and I'm just like it just felt weird. Like, I don't know how to explain it. You just know when you're in a situation you feel weird. It felt weird. I look at her and I made a joke. Like, ¿para dónde nosotros vamos? Esto parece que nosotros vamos a hacer una operación de droga. I said that joking around. She looked at me, she's like, ay, déjate de cosas. I'm like, all right, well, my bad. So, you know, I'm trying to have a conversation with her, whatever. We get to this house, I see the guys get out, and then she's getting out, and she's like, quédate aquí, no vayas adentro de la casa. Even though she told me to stay there, I just felt like, I don't want to stay in this SUV. Like, what is she gonna do inside? Why are we surrounded with so many men? Like, everything just looked very weird, and so funny that I made a joke, and I literally told her, yo, why are we here? Like, this looks like we're doing something drug related. I had no idea that that's exactly what we were doing. So we get into the house, and I remember when I walked in, guys, it was a scene from, like, just think about the craziest drug movie you've ever seen. That's exactly what I walked into. I don't know, Scarface, whatever. I remember as soon as you open the door to the living room, like, there was a table, okay, like a little one of those coffee tables, and I remember it was like stacks, like boxes like this little, I don't know what that's called, but you guys know what I'm talking about. It was cocaine. So it was like stacks and stacks and stacks. I don't know the names, I don't know what they're called, but las bolsitas esas de cocaína, it was like this, but it was big. It was like big old bag. You know when you go to Chipotle and you order like that big old burrito and they put it like that? That's what it looked like. It was like a whole bunch of Chipotle burritos, but it wasn't Chipotle burritos, it was cocaine. It was other stuff. I don't know the other names of drugs, but I just know that there was more drugs on the table. There was a lot of pills. I remember seeing a couple of guns, and if you know me, I really am scared of guns. I have gone to gun ranges and stuff like that just to kind of help me with the fear that I have of them, but I really am scared of guns. I'm there and I'm just like, yo, we really are in the middle of like a drug operation, right? When I had walked in, she wasn't there. I walked into the living room by myself. I don't know if I mentioned that, but I walked into the living room by myself. She wasn't there, nobody was there. I'm just letting you guys know, as soon as I walked in, everything that I saw. Cuando yo vi todo eso, then I wanted to shout for her. I wanted to call her name, but I'm like, I don't want to say anything to where I'm getting in trouble. So I don't know what she was doing. To this day, I have no idea what she was doing in the back. I don't know if she was using drugs, if she was putting drugs into her system, if she was selling the drug, if she was buying the drug. I don't know what she was doing. I just know that she was back there doing something, and she was gone for a little bit. And a little bit, I want to say maybe like 2 or 3 minutes, but when you're facing a dangerous situation like that, those 2-3 minutes seem very long. So ya se tardó. All of a sudden, I see her coming out and she's like, I thought I told you to stay in the car. And I'm like, es que yo no me quería quedar en el carro. I was like, ¿qué es esto? This other guy comes out and he's wearing like a vest. You know, the ones that are like this, and then you pull out a gun here, you pull out a gun here, like a shoulder holster. He only had one, and he had one here, and I remember it was brown. It was like a leather brown. I remember as soon as he saw me, he put his hand like on his gun. And he's like, ¿Quién es esta? And I'm like, oh my God, I'm about to get shot. Like I really just caught somebody doing something majorly illegal with like so much money worth of drugs, and I'm about to get shot, and I'm innocent. I didn't even want to be here. I had no idea that this was even going on. Like, what did this girl bring me to? Y yo no sabía. She's trying to make it seem like, oh no, ella está bien, ella está conmigo. And he's like, pero que ella hace aquí? ¿Quién es ella? Like, oh, pero esa es mi amiga, pa. And I'm just like, and I couldn't think of anything else other than just to raise my hands. And I'm just like, oh no, yo estoy con ella. Maybe I shouldn't have talked. Maybe I should have just stayed quiet. But I was so scared, and I wanted to just kind of assure this guy, like, listen, I know what's going on and it's super illegal, but I'm not saying nothing because I'm not trying to get shot. But I was really scared, because I'm like, wow, this girl really brought me into a drug operation, and she didn't even warn me. Like, she literally just let me go in there. Yeah, she told me to stay in the car, but if she would have told me why to stay in the car, I would have stayed in the car. Not only would I stay in the car, I would have stayed in the driver's seat, because if I would have heard anything, I would have just left. I remember when I was in there, the only thing I could think about again was my dad. And it's funny, every time I'm in these life situations, I always think of either my mom or my dad, because my dad has always told me, in the world, a lot of the things that happens is that somebody innocent always gets hurt. My dad has told me that my whole life. He's always said, you know, tú te vas a meter en una situación donde el inocente es el que paga. And you know, it becomes like, okay, Dad, oh my God, you know, Dad, I got it. But then when you're facing the situation, immediately you think about your parents, and you're like, oh my God, this is what my mom says all the time. This is what my dad says all the time. I also thought of the song, I think it's by Anoche Llegaste Tarde. It's by Roberto Orellana, where he says, hijo mío, hay peligro en la calle y es posible que el instinto te falle. Alguna fechoría alguien cometerá y siempre el inocente morirá. I'm not gonna lie, that song kept replaying in my head, because I'm like, this is exactly what's gonna happen. I'm in a situation, I'm innocent, y yo voy a pagar porque esta estúpida me metió en esta situación. I honestly thought he's gonna shoot me because he thinks that I'm gonna rat him out or whatever. I looked at her, I looked at the guy, I'm praying like, Señor, you know, I want to get out of here. Like, this is crazy. I'm just like, God, please just get me out of here. And the guy just actually like calmed down, and he's like, he's still with his hands on the gun, and he's like, sácala de aquí, sácala de aquí. So then I'm like with my hands up, and I'm like, okay, so we go outside, we go back into the SUV with the other guys, and everybody's just looking at me. And so I was still in danger even with those guys in the SUV, and she's just chilling. Ella está lo más bien. And I'm like, ¿por qué tú me metiste en una situación así? And then she's like, ay, ¿qué te pasa? Tranquila, no pasó nada. I'm just like, so you put me in a situation where I could have lost my life. I could have died. We're in the middle of a drug operation, and you don't see nothing wrong with what you did. Which you would think that after that, I would have just broken up with her. Yeah, I'm just really stupid. I was young. I was 21. It was my first girlfriend. She put me again in another even worse situation, but I'm not comfortable telling that story yet, so give me time. That one was even worse than this one. So yeah, so trust me, it's just one of those things that I'm like, it took me a long time to break up with this girl, but when I finally did, it was like me sacó una carga de encima, because yes, I have dated girls who weren't the best, but when I tell you that this one was the worst girlfriend I have ever had, if there was a medal or a trophy for the worst girlfriend ever, ella se la va a ganar. She won it a lot. She won it years ago, and she has yet to step down from that throne. But you know what's crazy is that La Vida Continua, this was like over 15 years ago, and I haven't spoken to her. She's one of the few exes that I actually haven't kept in touch with, because I've never seen her on social media or anything like that. No sé nada de ella, but you know how social media is. All of a sudden I make this story and you never know, she pops out out of nowhere. But if she were to find me on Facebook and be like, hey, you want to go out and catch up, I'd be like, sí, dale, vamos pa. What, Tuesday, want to get some coffee? Dale, vamos pa, yeah. Because it's just one of those things where I'm like, listen, I'm alive, I'm good, you're good. She's probably married, I don't know, but I have no idea anything about her, so I usually give you guys updates, pero es que de verdad que yo no sé nada de ella. But if she were to try to come back into my life in the sense of like try to be friends, absolutely. Like, I'm friends with almost all my ex-girlfriends, which is weird. I know I get a lot of hassle for that, but to me it's like, if we didn't work out in a relationship and I'm completely over you, why couldn't I be your friend? I've been to exes' weddings, I've been to baby showers, I've been to gender reveals, I've been to it all. Emma, tengo una que I think if she gets married now and she invites me, I will go. That'll be my second ex's wedding. That's just me. It's my weird thing. I know that nobody likes that, but it's just been always my thing. But anyways, I don't know what else to say, guys. That is it. That has been the most dangerous situation that I've ever been put. Let me take that back. That's one of the most dangerous situations that I've ever been put while I was in a relationship, I guess, with a female, because I've never really had anything like this happen with a guy. Anyways, that's it. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'm gonna link the other story of how I finally ended up breaking up with her in the subscription. Thank you so much, and you guys all have a beautiful night.